Hey, it's your contrarian soul guide, Dawn, and you're listening to Sovereignty Rising, where we burn the rulebook, reclaim the soul, and create from the inside out. Let's make this clear. You are always creating, even when you're self-sabotaging, even when you're spiraling in fear, even when you think you're just coping. Creation doesn't pause when you feel unworthy. It doesn't take a break when you're confused, and it sure as hell doesn't wait until you've read the book, done the workshop, or saged your whole damn house. Creation is constant. Thought creates form, and choice directs it. And if you're not choosing with intention, you're still choosing. You're just doing it unconsciously. Today, we're diving into principle one of co-creation. Creation isn't optional, it's constant. Welcome to Sovereignty Rising. Ditch the fear, embrace your flame. I'm Dawn Elgin, contrarian soul guide, visionary mystic, and creatrix of practical spiritualism. And this is the space where we strip away the fear, burn the old stories down, and reclaim the power that was never truly lost, just buried. Here, we dive into raw, unfiltered conversations on emotional healing, spiritual awakening, and the art of unlearning everything that keeps you stuck, small, and disconnected from your truth. Together, we rise like phoenixes. Flame first, fear last. Let's rise together. So before we dive all the way into this first principle, I want us to begin with what are the principles of co-creation. We talked about it a bit in the last episode, but just in case you didn't catch it. So I came across the principles of co-creation back in, 2018, when I was listening to a book by Carolyn Mace. It's called The Advanced Energy Anatomy. I guess it technically isn't a book. It's an audible, but it is a recording of one of her workshops. And it had shown up on my phone. It was one of my first big spiritual nudges where I was blatantly being given an answer to something that I didn't realize. I knew I'd asked it, but I didn't realize this is what was happening. So this Audible showed up on my Audible account. It was downloaded, and it was the only one that would work. And it went like this for me for several months. I would get so frustrated. I would literally have temper tantrums. I was not pleased with what was going on. I had a concussion. I just had two car accidents 6 days apart. I was searching for answers. I was looking for how come some people heal and some people don't. I had already kind of been guided towards the HeartMath Institute, towards Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton. And I was fascinated by this idea of biology of belief, of that we could break the habit of being ourselves. Those are kind of the first books that came into my radar after the injury. Within about 6 months, I wasn't able to work anymore. I was put on long-term disability. And it would take years before I would start, I'm going to say getting my life back, but it was so different. It really wasn't like getting it back at all. As a matter of fact, that's what I kept saying over and over again is I just want to be better. And finally, people would ask me, what does that even mean? What does better mean to you? And I was like, well, I just want my life back. And then they're like, oh, the one that you weren't fulfilled by? And so I really had to start learning how to let go. And this book was the beginning of that, or this workshop, I guess. So once I started to really loosen my grip, little bit by little bit, because it certainly wasn't fast, I began this journey of, I'm going to say surrendering, but we were definitely not there yet. It was like just taking these little nudges to get quieter, to get a little slower. The doctors were like, there's nothing we can do. All you can do is meditate. And I'd be like, how much meditation? They'd be like, as much as you can. Be like, what kind? Any kind that works. Well, for how long? As long as you want. Like it was the most obscure, rules that I'd ever been given. It was just like, just do your best, which is what got me into taking a course called the Science of Mindful Awareness so that I would buy into meditation. And it was the Science of Mindful Awareness teacher training that actually really got me into it, where I started to be fascinated. Instead of just learning in a book, I started to be able to control pain with my breath. And that really began a deep, deep journey. So from there, I started to get more and more nudges of starting to read the Course in Miracles, even though for the most part, I couldn't read. My eyes were so damaged. I actually saw a neuro optic therapist. And yet, for some reason, every morning I could wake up and I could do whatever the lesson of the day was. I could write on it, and then I could go and meditate and do a bit of yoga and walk. Those are pretty much my whole day would be taken by just that. It was an extraordinarily humbling experience. Now, as I'm going through these laws of, or these principles of co-creation, these principles became the base. Everything about this book, when I look back, because that's always the way, right? Our hindsight's 2020. When I look back at my life and looked at this last, 8 years since the accidents, what really happened? Because my life did a complete 180. And so this book becomes a major part of it because it opened me not just to energy, to doing energy work, but how it actually works. How does it come into play? How is it that we create our life? It was the beginning or the base so that I could understand downward causation. It was the base so that I could really understand the chakra system, that I could understand energy anatomy. And it was these 7 principles that helped me really grasp what the universe, source, God, creation is trying to get us to become aware of so that we can create with intention and how to end our suffering, really. And so this became the baseline for me on what was to become the rest of my life, my journey. So the first thing I have to tell you is if you are asking the universe, we'll call it source today. So if you are going to ask source for something and you keep getting nudges, but you don't really love what you're being shown, you at some point will get pushed because you asked for it. So we have to understand that we are either making a choice or we're abdicating our power. And so for myself, before the accidents, the last thing that happened was I had said that morning, I don't know how to stop the wheel I've created, but I need your help. And literally that afternoon, around 4 o'clock, a lady lost control of her vehicle and hit mine, and it would change my life forever. And it's not that that accident was really that bad. Technically, I should have been able to recover from it within a couple of weeks, probably. But 6 days later, I had another one. And so guidance was coming through and saying, you asked for this. Now, I didn't ask to be in a car accident. I hadn't asked to blow up my life. But what I did say was, I can't stop the wheel. I need you to take it. And so I tell my clients all the time, be careful of what you ask for. I mean this. If you say, I want to be more forgiving, you will be given things to forgive. So be careful, be really precise. It might be, I want to be forgiving to the things that have happened in my past. So don't leave it open ended. Otherwise, you'll get a whole bunch of opportunity to really work that muscle. So that's the first thing. Whenever I ask for anything, I'm specific, extremely specific, and I always caveat everything with, and no hitting, because I've had enough of that. So there are natural principles of the universe that define how all of life is created, how we create life, including our personal lives. These are the principles that all of life in the universe adheres to in order to create and to expand creation. We learn, understand, and apply these principles in our own life. When we learn, understand, and apply these principles to our own life, we're able to move through life with greater ease and with joy. We flow with life rather than feeling like we're going against a current. So, principle number 1, creation isn't optional, it's constant. Joe Dispenza taught this best in his book. I believe it was Becoming Supernatural. And he said it when he said, thought plus emotion equals action. And so it's really how we get into downward causation. We first have a thought, and then we have an emotion comes up, and then we have the physical experience. Let me explain. So you're driving down the road, somebody cuts you off. So we have the thought, he's a jerk, and then we have the emotion of irritation, frustration, even maybe scared. And then we have a physical experience. our blood pressure rises, our heart rate increases. Maybe we flip them the bird, we hit the gas or we hit the brake. So thought plus emotion equals a physical action. Now there's option two. Same person cuts you off, but you just simply think, whoa, and you feel kind of a little hesitation, maybe a little alertness. You take your foot off the gas and you just slow down a little. So the thought becomes the beginning point. And then we have an emotion and then we create action. And no matter what, creation is happening, whether it's because of us being in habitual consciousness or because we are intentionally designing it. So no matter what we're thinking, we're creating something. And if we can't think of it as being out in the world, as the impact we're having on others, at the very minimum, we can see what that action is by how our body reacts. So in one case, with the emotion of anger, we had a change in our heart rate, in our blood pressure, in our autonomic nervous system. So a whole flood of things happened in our body that we never thought about, that we didn't choose to have happen. But we abdicated when we had those negative, lower vibrational thoughts and emotions. So by default, that's what we were creating. At the very minimum, we were creating it in our physical body. Then we take it into the world around us. Even if you just look at whether or not we hit the gas or hit the brake, whether or not we flipped them the bird or made some facial expression at them or yelled in our car. And it impacted other people in our car, other people around us. So we're having this impact that's going out into the world. So thought plus emotion creates action. That is the best way to explain this entire principle, really, because thought creates form and your choice directs it. Now, most of our choices are subtle. They're not conscious. They are created or stem from our belief systems, our attitudes, our emotional patterns. No matter why, they're all stored within our body. They're all stored within our cells, within our tissue. It's where they say our issues are stored in our tissues. And this is what they're talking about. It's psychosomatics. It is the mind and the body. And the mind not only considered thought, but emotion as well. So that subtle body and then the physical body and the impact that they have on each other. And they're not only stored in our biology, but something most people don't think about is they're also stored in our biography. So they're stored in our ancestry, in epigenetics, in our timelines. So they're not just stored in here, but they're stored all the way along. So let's go back to that driving incident. So the driving situation number one happens. I'm pissed off and I keep thinking about it. It's looping and looping. I'm driving the whole way home thinking of things that I would say to that person, other things I could have done. It's just nothing but fake scenarios going on in my head. Then I get home and I tell my husband about it. I rant about all the stupid drivers on the road, all the stupid people that are out in this town. Now, that few seconds of an incident has taken me totally over, and it's become my mood. And if I continue to think and feel this way, it's going to become my attitude. And my attitude, repeated often enough, becomes my personality. Now, what kind of life am I creating? How am I affecting the people and the things around me? What kind of relationships am I cultivating? No one is doing anything to me, and nothing is happening for me, but everything is happening through me. And that's what this principle is all about. Every single thought we think matters. Every emotion is a choice, even if you abdicated it. So if you're just allowing them to come and go and we're not containing, we're not dealing, we're not in control of ourself, of our life, we've abdicated that power, we're still creating. Every single thought matters. Every single emotion is a choice. We are constantly creating our world in every single moment. Now, the good news, now that we're aware of it, we can create a completely different world. We can create a completely different life. Awareness is the key to changing absolutely everything. So let's talk about false manifestation and let's burn it down. So I want to just get a little bit spicy. Can we just retire the idea that manifesting is about vision boards and acting as if? Because a lot of people are acting and it's not working. You're not manifesting what you think. You're manifesting what you believe, what you vibrate, what you broadcast energetically into the quantum field. You can say affirmations all day, but if your subconscious is screaming, I'm not safe, guess who wins? The universe, source, doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your wavelength. This is why toxic positivity doesn't work, because you can't gaslight your own soul. I'm not saying that we can't do vision boards. I am not saying that at all. I'm saying that it's going to take a bit of a deeper dive. Have you ever noticed that you can manifest and make an intention for more money to come in, and more money does, but then all of a sudden we have this issue of a bill also arrives. You get $100, but a bill arrives for 99. Why does that happen? Because consciously you might be asking for $100, but if you have a belief underneath it that you're unworthy of abundance, that money is difficult and should be hustled for, then you're going to have a dichotomy. And we're going to go into that more in another principle, but it's important for us to know this, because often the things that we're putting out in affirmation isn't actually in alignment with the thoughts that we're thinking. And that matters, because thoughts plus emotions creates an action. And so what we are thinking about is so incredibly important. So can we do a vision board? Absolutely. But we need to get deeper into it. Are my thoughts and my emotions aligning with the things that I'm envisioning for my life? This is the key to conscious creation. Thought creates form and choice directs it. So this is where mystical meets practical. Thoughts are like seeds and we water them. Charged thoughts become signals, and those signals collapse into form through frequency. But here's the catch. Not all thoughts are created equally. The ones you feel and feed, those are the ones shaping your field. This is why we need to manifest in a certain way. So if you're not actively choosing what to water, you'll end up living in a garden full of weeds. Weeds you didn't even know you planted. So the equation, thought plus emotion plus repetition equals creation. But choice is what decides the direction. So I want to share with you guys an anchoring practice, one I do every single day when I wake up. And it is the connecting between ether and earth. Sometimes I call it tethering ether and earth. And so it's this ability for us to not only anchor into the earth and anchor up into the ether, but to allow ourselves to be a conduit of this energy that is meant to be flowing inside of us. So go ahead and make yourself comfortable, whatever that looks like. And if it's available to you, you can close your eyes. And I just want you to start to become aware of your body. Start to notice the soles of your feet, maybe the backs of your thighs, maybe your buttocks, noticing your back, your head, your shoulders, your arms and your hands, your chest and your belly. And then start to notice your breath. With each inhale, the body expanding, and with each exhale, the body gently contracting. Noticing how the body ebbs and flows in rhythm with your breath. Notice what it feels like to allow your body to be breathed. Now, on your next inhale, draw the breath all the way down into your pelvic bowl. As you exhale, drop it down into the earth, like you're dropping energetic roots through your sits bones, down, 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 deep, deep, deep into the earth, connecting into the quantum healing field grids and networks that are held there, connecting into the field of unity consciousness, connecting into benevolent Gaian conscious, connecting into Mother Earth, connecting into the crystalline core of the earth. And now as you inhale, draw this energy all the way up the central pillar and into the body. And as you exhale, let it merge. Inhale to the pelvic bowl. Exhale through the crown of your head, like you're sending those energetic roots up, up, up into the sky, connecting into the quantum healing field grids and networks that are held there, connecting into the field of unity consciousness, connecting into Father Sky, our Sun, connecting into Mother, Father, God, Source. And now in your next inhale, draw this energy all the way down into your body, into your heart. As you exhale, let that merge. Each breath harmonizing the divine feminine and the divine masculine within you. Feel yourself fully tethered, fully anchored, a bridge between ether and earth, between chaos and clarity, between fate and destiny. You are the field. I used to believe I was reacting to life, that things were happening to me, to bad luck, to heartbreak, to disappointment. But what I was really doing was unconsciously choosing from fear, from trauma, from scarcity, from those deeply embedded beliefs I wasn't even aware that were there. I created chaos in my life, in my career, because I didn't believe I was safe to shine. I performed in my marriage because I didn't believe I was worthy of love, not without a mask. And I stayed in friendships that felt off because I didn't want to be too much. And then I wondered why I burned out. I was bitter and resentful. I wasn't unlucky. I was out of alignment. I was creating a reality that matched my fear instead of my truth. It wasn't until I started choosing, even in small, shaky ways, that things started to shift. Tiny choices, brave ones, aligned ones. That's what builds the new blueprint. That's what builds the new blueprint. Want a daily tool to bring this principle into life? Try this. These are the field check, 3 questions for conscious creation. So just ask yourself, what am I creating right now with my energy? Notice your thoughts. Notice your emotion. Is this coming from fear or from truth, from love, connection? And what's one aligned choice I can make today? This is how you steer your frequency instead of drifting into default. Do it in the morning. Do it before hard conversations. Do it when you're triggered. This is how we create differently, how we stop reacting to life and start responding from ourselves. Now let's go ahead and take a break from our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by me, your spiritual CEO, your truth teller, your no fluff, light the fire soul guide. I created 2 programs that walk you through the exact process we're talking about here. Soul Alchemy, my high-level one-to-one container for the woman who knows she's encoded for more, but needs to break through the fear, the noise, and the upper limits. I also created Aligned Living, the bridge between the spiritual and the practical, where you integrate the work and make it real. If you're looking for a guide who's walked through the fire, who lives this work every day, who can hold both your pain and your power and not take it, let's talk. Details are in the show notes. So one final transmission. You're always creating. Creation doesn't wait until you feel ready. And the scariest part, you can be creating loops of pain and sabotage and calling it normal. But the most liberating part, you can choose something different right now. You're always creating, not sometimes, not when the timing's perfect, not when Mercury's direct. You're creating through your energy, your frequency, and your choices every moment of the day. So what are you choosing? Are you reinforcing fear? Are you broadcasting your truth? Are you on autopilot? Or are you in alignment? Are you unconsciously reliving fate? or are you choosing your destiny? You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to get present. And that is how we begin. Our soul is an entity only of present time, of this moment, the eternal now. The ego, it is what lives in time, in the past and in the future. And every single time we come back to this present moment, we come back to ourselves, we take an opportunity to co-create with life. This is your birthright. Now, one thing to note, resentments and judgments are the main reasons that we get stuck. They keep us looping in ignorance and immaturity. They are the things that our ego, our psyche, uses to keep us playing small, to feed our pain body. And it is vital for us to release these behaviors, release these patterns so that we can evolve. This means not only the resentments and the judgments that we hold against others, but the ones that we hold against ourselves. We are worthy of doing this work. It is imperative for us to let go of these things so that we do not continue to be dragged through life by them. You are an aspect of divinity. You are a God spark. You are not designed to suffer. This is something that we actually can stop. We can create a different world. We can create a different life. It is a very simple process. It's just not that easy, not with all the chaos. But we don't need to walk this path alone. I invite you to join our Facebook community, The Awakening Circle, where we can walk this path together. It's free. It's not a sales call. It's just simply a community that I wanted to create so that we can continue to expand in a safe environment. I invite you to sign up for my newsletter on my website, practicalspiritualismco.com, where I give daily moments of inspiration, links to the podcast so that we don't forget, to our YouTube, as well as to blogs. So lots of places that we can go to continue to download information that helps us shift into a creative powerhouse that we were meant to be. Until next time, I see the light in you, and it is frickin' brilliant. And I cannot wait for you to see it too. You are not broken. You are not too much. You're remembering who you've always been. And this journey is just getting started. If today's episode lit something in you, hit follow so you don't miss what's coming. And if you're feeling it, leave a review. It helps with more soul-led women find this space. Want to go deeper? Come find me on YouTube, Facebook, our private Facebook community, The Awakening Circle, Instagram, TikTok, or at our website, practicalspiritualismco.com, for all the ways we can rise together. Not to worry, all those links are in our show notes. Until next time, stay sovereign, stay bold, and keep that fire lit.